Hey, welcome back. I'm glad you're here because I've got a major problem. I really need to update my resume. Right now, it's just kind of boring. I tried spicing it up with different colors and fonts, but that just looked totally unprofessional. For some projects, formatted text just isn't good enough. I think it's time to ask my friend B to stop by and show us how to go beyond the basics of word processing software. By the end of this lesson, you will be able to use word processing software to produce well-formatted, professional-looking documents. Let's get into it.
Hey, it's B again, here to show you how to use the more advanced features in word processing software. If you'd like to follow along, open your practice document from the last lesson or create a new one. First, let's finish going through the more advanced toolbar options that we skipped over in the last lesson. This one inserts links to websites, although the way it's usually used isn't to insert links so much as transform existing text into a link. To do this, highlight the text you want to turn into a link. Click the Insert Link tool, then type or paste the address to the website and click Apply. Now you can click the linked text to be sent directly to that website. The next tool doesn't actually have anything to do with formatting text, so we'll ignore that for now. The next tool is kind of surprising. Word processors don't just deal with text. You can also insert images. When you click the tool, you'll see options for where you'd like the image to come from. Pause the video now and try inserting a photo using one of these options. Here's the photo I chose to insert, our good friend Mia. If you click on the image you inserted, you can adjust it by dragging these points at the corners. I can make Mia smaller or bigger. But Mia is kind of messing up our text, huh? That's because the image is currently in line, meaning it's considered a part of the text line. And because it's such a big image, it's making that line way taller than it should be. We could solve this by making Mia teeny tiny, but what's the point of a picture if you can't see it? Instead, let's change the image so it's no longer in line with the text. The Wrap Text option takes the image out of the line, so you can move it wherever you want. And the text will always move out of its way. We can also choose the Break Text option, which puts the image on a line on its own and inserts that line in between the text, which might be good in some cases, but in this case, it just messes up our text again. We can use the Behind Text option to place the image in the background with the text in front of it. Or use the In Front of Text option to place the image in front and have the text behind it. Each of the image settings here can be useful in different situations, but for now, let's get rid of our image so we can move on to the next feature on the toolbar. The next 3 tools on the toolbar can be used to turn your text into different types of lists. You can turn your text into a checklist using this tool, a bulleted list with this tool, or a numbered list with this tool. If you click the arrows next to each one, you can even customize how your list looks. The Insert menu also contains a lot of interesting tools, so let's explore those as well. To insert a table, hover your cursor over Table. A new section opens up so that you can choose how many rows and columns you want your table to have. I'm going to create a table with 2 columns and 4 rows. Now that the table is created, we can type in the cells. You can go ahead and type in whatever you want. I'm just going to go with the usual. We can do all the same things in each cell that we could outside of the table. See? By being strategic about how you format the cells, you can use tables to organize information, like this easy-to-read inches to centimeters conversion table. Try playing around with these table options on the toolbar to change things like cell background colors and border colors. A little further down the Insert menu, you'll find the Special Characters tool. Here, you can find basically any symbol you want that doesn't appear on a typical keyboard. For instance, you won't find emojis on most keyboards, but you can use this tool to insert them. Also on the Insert menu, you will find the Headers and Footers option. And if you hover your cursor over it, it splits into header and footer. Let's try out the header option. This puts your insertion point near the top of the page above all the other text. Go ahead and type something there, then click out of the header. It seems like it just puts that text near the top of the page, but there's more to it. If you hit Enter or Return a bunch of times until you reach the next page, what do you notice? The header doesn't just appear on that one page, it appears on all the pages. But in some documents, the first page is special, like a title page. So there's this option to make the first page's header different from all the other pages. If you decide to insert a footer, it works the same way, except at the foot or bottom of the page, rather than at the top. Let's quickly jump over into the Format menu to find the Columns option. Most documents start out as one single column of text. But with this tool, you can change it to 2 columns, or even 3. But the document doesn't know where to split your text between the columns. If you're following along on your own document, place your insertion point in the middle of your text before this next step. Now, open the Insert menu. Hover over Break and choose Column Break. This tells the program where to break your text to start the next column. But what about the rest of those break options? A page break automatically moves anything after it to the next page. Section breaks are a little more complicated. They separate sections of your document so that each section can be formatted differently. If you've changed the number of columns to 2, your entire document will be in 2 columns now. A next page section break will create a new section on the next page. So you can make that page only 1 column. A continuous section break just inserts the section break on the next line, so you can have different formatting even on the same page. I'm excited to see what you create using all these tools. Until next time!
There we go! Just what my resume needed. A bulleted list here, 3 columns there, and a nice big picture of me. This is the most professional my resume has ever looked. You now have the knowledge necessary to create professional-looking documents. But to truly understand how these different tools work, it's important that you experiment with them on your own, just like I did with my resume. The PDF for this lesson includes some suggestions for example projects you can do to practice using word processing software. You can use these suggestions, come up with your own project ideas, or just play around with the different options without any specific goal in mind. Once you think you're a pro at using word processing software, you'll be ready to move on to the next lesson, which is all about presentation software. This is software that allows you to produce highly creative and engaging presentations full of images and animations to captivate your audience. Until then, remember, your brain is the smartest computer you'll ever have, so keep it charged and never stop updating it. See you next time.
Hey, hey.